Hello everyone and welcome back to Carvenus 14. Now today we are going to be doing another video on Shenhe, and today we're going to be testing out a new set that came out with the Chasm update. Now obviously the Chasm update came out a while ago and everyone's already probably got this set and people have probably already been trying it out, and obviously I haven't got to it because, well, I've been busy with other things. So, yeah. Now today, I wanted to try out the new Echoes of Offering set on Shenhe. And the reason I wanted to try out the new Echoes of Offering set on Shenhe is because I managed to farm not an amazing 4-piece, but it's still a pretty decent 4-piece, to be fair. Now, the reason this artifact set could actually be quite strong on Shenhe is because the extra damage that Echoes of Offering actually does scales off of your attack. Your maximum attack, all of your attacks. So your base attack as well as your bonus attack that you get from artifacts and weapons and stuff like that, basically, right? So I was thinking, Shenhe, her ascension passive, when you ascend her up the levels, is attack percent. So she's going to have a much higher scaling attack than a lot of other characters in the game. So if the Echoes of Offering set the damage scales off of your attack, and Shenhe scales with attack, then these two could work really, really well together. So I decided to try it out, and from my testing, from what I've seen, the damage is actually pretty similar to the previous set that I was using. So beforehand, if you guys know my build, I was using originally a 2-piece Pale Flame as well as a 2-piece Bloodstained Chivalry. I was going full physical damage. This build is also still technically physical damage because it only buffs your normal and charge attacks. Or is it just your normal attacks? It's just your normal attacks. Yeah. Now, you guys probably already know how this set works already, but I'll still go through it anyway. Now, when you're normal attacking opponents, there's a 36% chance that you will deal like the valley right damage, basically. And the valley right damage is basically when your next normal attack deals its regular attack, right, but it also increases that attack by 70%, if that makes sense. So you'll be dealing 70% increased damage on that next attack, and the effect can basically be procced every 0.2 seconds. Now, basically, it can be procced every single instant. And because Shenhe is a polearm user, she can proc it very, very easily because polearm users can obviously attack very, very fast. Now, and if you don't proc it the first time, then the chance to trigger the Valley Right effect will actually be increased by 20%, I believe. Yeah, by 20%. So if you don't trigger it the first time, the chance will go up to 56%, up to 76%, and up to 96%. And for some reason, if you still don't trigger it, it goes up to like 114%. And by then you'll obviously, or 116%, and you'll have to have triggered it by then. So yeah, basically, every 5 hits, you're guaranteed to basically land the special effect of this. But there's a chance you could land it before that. So, yeah. So basically, with a polearm character, you'll basically be able to proc this effect once every single normal attack combo. Which doesn't sound amazing, but let's not forget, that's the worst case scenario. Obviously, you most likely will be able to hit it every 3rd or 4th attack. Maybe if you're really lucky, every 1 or 2 attacks. So, this is a very RNG-based set, but it could definitely work on polearm characters as well as basically any character that can attack really, really quickly. Now, as for my pieces, they're not amazing. I am still trying to farm for better pieces, but this one is the flower that I got. It's got 19.4% crit damage. Unfortunately, you rolled twice into defense percent, which is slightly annoying, but it's actually not too bad. As for the feather didn't roll into crit damage a lot. I only got 12.4% crit damage. So, yeah, it's not too bad. It's not too amazing, but it is what it is, you know? As for the timepiece, I didn't actually manage to get a good timepiece, so I just stuck with this one. This timepiece has been power crept so hard, to be brutally honest. I think it's going to be very difficult to find a timepiece to come even in competition zone with this thing. As for the goblet, I actually got a very decent goblet from this. So I got a physical damage bonus goblet, right, with 7% crit rate and 24.1% crit damage. So this is a very, very good goblet, which means this is basically the goblet I'm going to be using probably from now on any physical damage build. And as for the headpiece or the circlet or the earrings, I got a crit rate earrings, right? But it didn't come with crit rate or crit damage. And because I kind of wanted to get this build up and running anyway, I kind of just decided, you know what? Let me just use this and see how bad it can be. Now, if you guys didn't know, in my previous artifacts, I had 217.2% crit damage, 108.3% physical damage bonus, and my base attack was like my full attack was like 2,339. The reason I know these exact values is because I literally created the video that was before this one, actually a few seconds. So yeah, I'm literally creating those two videos back to back. Whether I'll post them back to back, I'm not so sure. Yeah, that's why I remember the stats quite well. Now, the max HP is 23,529. Now, my previous build, I had 22,906 max HP, so I do have a little bit more HP here, which obviously isn't that much, but let's not forget, we are using the Staff of Homer, so any bit of extra health that comes, I'll take it. So, yeah. Then, as for the attack, like I said, was 2,339 with the old build. With this build, it's 2,437. So basically 98 extra attack. Yeah, 98 extra attack. So I'll be dealing a little bit more damage with that build. The defense value is 1,027, which is like the old build was 1,094. So we're a little bit squishier with this build, ever so slightly, but you know, it is what it is. Elemental mastery is 93 compared to the old build's 37. So I guess my cryo damage will be a little bit more potent. Max stamina has always been the same. Now, as for my crit rate and crit damage, well, crit rate, I actually have a little bit more crit rate with this build because of that goblet piece that I have. Yeah, so instead of having 39% crit rate, I now have 43.1% crit rate. So a little bit more crit rate, and that also means that, well, 43 plus the cryo resonance, which will be 15% increased crit rate towards cryo opponents, that will basically be 58? Is it 50? No, it's not 58. Surely it can't be 58, can it? Well, 43 plus... No, it is 58. Yeah, it is 58. 58% increased crit rate, which is actually quite strong. So, yeah, that's near 60%. So I'll be critting a lot more often with this build now. Well, not a lot more often, but, you know, a decent amount more. As for the crit damage, but I'm actually not too far off from my original crit damage, to be fair. My original crit damage, like I said, was 217.2% crit damage, right? This one, I'm only 10.1% off, which actually isn't too bad, especially considering the fact that my circlet doesn't have any crit damage bonuses, and I could definitely try and get better pieces for my feather as well as my flower if I really wanted to. So this is genuinely actually not too bad. It's a decent starting point as well. So, and if we do a little bit less damage, we also know where that little bit less damage is going to be coming from the crit damage. So energy recharge I have before was 110%, now it's 105%. Shield strength remained the same. Now, the big difference is here, actually. The physical damage bonus has gone down to 58.3, and the reason for that was because beforehand, I had the extra 50% coming from the two pieces that I was running, obviously being Pale Flame as well as Bloodstained Chivalry, but now I don't have that. It means I've lost quite a bit of physical damage bonus. So the physical damage bonus might be the one that affects the results the most, but we'll see how it is. Now, we're going to do 2 runs on Masanori, right? So Masanori is the samurai in Inazuma that everyone uses as a test dummy. So we're going to do 1 test run with no buffs. In fact, the only thing I'm really going to use is Kaya's cryo spell, because Kaya's cryo spell is basically that we're going to affect him with cryo to increase our crit rate towards him. That's it. We'll probably use 1 buff, which will be Shenhe's hold elemental skill, because that basically increases Shenhe's normal and charge attack and plunging attack damage by 15%. So I'm going to use that buff because obviously it's a buff that Shenhe relies on by herself. It's not any external buffs, it's obviously coming from herself. So I'll allow that, and then we'll do another run where we use all the buffs possible. Not food. I'm not going to use food buffs. I'm only going to use Zhongli's shield for the physical resistance shred, Yunjin's elemental burst for the increased normal attack damage, and Shenhe's elemental burst for the, you know, physical damage reduction shred as well. So, yeah, that is basically what we are going to do. Now, off to Masanori, who is down below us. I do apologize, Shenhe, for disrupting your moment there, but yeah. So we're going to try and face off against this man. We'll switch to Kaya so I can straight away apply him with Cryo. Let's go. Freeze! So 3,000. Oh, that got me, okay. 7,000, what's that? Actually not too bad, 8,000, what was that?
This will do!
Transfiguration!
Got myself, yeah. 8,000, 9,000 lost. 11,000 there. That was 14,000. Oh my god, okay. Yeah, so, well then, you guys can see that I actually think I'm hitting a little bit harder than my Pale Flame build. I think I am. I can't remember the exact numbers from the Pale Flame build. The physical, like the two-piece physical build, my previous build, basically. I can't actually remember the exact numbers, but I don't remember them being that high. In fact, the highest I can actually remember those numbers going to was 12,000 or 13,000. I don't think I went as high as 14,000 in the last attacks. The mid attacks and the initial attacks were actually pretty heavy. 8,000 ranging up to 11,000 the first initial attack. That was with the buff. Without the buff, it was like 10,000, and the final attack without the buff was like, I think I saw, like, the highest I saw was 12,000, I think. So, yeah, it's actually really good, this build. And let's not forget, I have 10% less crit damage and 50% less physical damage bonus. So it just goes to show how good this set could actually be once it's properly perfected. Now we're going to do another test run. How close am I to the elemental burst? Okay, Yunjin might need a little bit more. I'm going to try and build up their energy as quickly as possible and basically reset again and then try and go for a nuke this time. So, yeah, try and nuke them and then, yeah. So, this might be a bit of a longer video than normal, hopefully not, but, you know. Let's see.
Let me try.
I'm not going to pay attention to the numbers here because I'm just trying to build up.
Transfiguration! Manifest!
Okay.
Solidify!
I just want to build the thing up.
Transfiguration!
Okay, let's reset again. Right, I wasn't paying attention to the numbers, but I think I saw 16,000 at one point. I think I saw 16,000. I'm not sure though. I might be lying, but I think I saw 16,000 at one point. So yeah, we'll try this again. We're gonna just launch basically everything humanly possible. Right, I'm excited.
This is order. Solidify.
Strike is one. Cryo incarnate.
Right, this is all the buffs.
20,000.
22. 19, 13, 21 again.
My will embodied. My will embodied.
Don't get frostbite.
Okay.
Cool it.
So that was basically everything I had there, guys. And
Order
I think it's safe to say that this build actually outclasses. Okay.
Freeze.
Transfiguration.
Oh my god, what on earth is this build? Yeah, so you guys can see there. Just to let you know, if you guys think that the charge attack damage isn't as ridiculously high, that's because Yunjin's elemental burst and the artifact set on Shenhe only buff normal attacks. I believe it only buffs normal attacks. Hold on. Yeah, which will increase normal attack damage. Yeah, it only increases normal attack damage compared to charge attack. That's why the charge attack didn't look that ridiculously high. But yeah, so you guys saw there that on Masanori, that these numbers were much higher. At least I remember them. I remember the Pale Flame and the Bloodstained Chivalry numbers actually being a lot lower, or not a lot lower, but definitely lower than what I was hitting with this build. This build, the highest number I saw was 26,000. I was averaging, basically, with all of the buffs, right? With all of the buffs, I was averaging between 18,000 to 22,000, 23,000 average, right? With everything. And without all of it, with just Shenhe's regular buff, that was about, what? 9,000 to 12,000, and then obviously 1,000 lower on each bit, 8,000 to 11,000 without any buffs. So this build is actually really, really strong, and you guys could see what I meant when, you know, Shenhe could probably utilize this set really well because of her Ascension passive, right? And obviously this build isn't even perfected. I've got less stats. I've actually, technically, on paper, this build should do less damage, but in reality, because of the artifact set boosting our attacks so much, yeah, because the artifact set is boosting our damage so much, it basically shows us that we're doing a lot more damage than it would actually seem. And you guys also remember that how I said, because Shen is a polearm character, she can proc it really, really well. She definitely can, because some of those numbers, in fact, a lot of those numbers on there were probably anomalies. They were definitely anomalies. Like that 26,000 damage number we saw, at one point, that was an anomaly. Right? There were probably loads of other anomalies mixed in with the non-crit damage numbers that I just couldn't really see. So, yeah, this build properly slaps everyone. And as the probably the #1 Shenhe fan out there, definitely not the #1. There's probably loads and loads of people out there that are much more Shenhe simps than I am. They probably have much better performing builds than this one, but all I can say is I am definitely happy with this build, and the best part is this build isn't even perfected. I could definitely get a better circlet. I could definitely get a better feather. As for the flower and the goblet, I probably won't be able to get anything better on those two, but if I can, I'll definitely take it. So anyway, guys, I have been Carvenus14 and still am, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you all, I would say very soon, but then again, it probably won't be, will it? So I'll see you all at some point. So, yeah, goodbye.